This is a Headgum podcast.
Maybe there. The seat?
Yeah, the seat. The chair.
The chair.
Yeah. They're all seats.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Seat versus chair. How you doing?
Not so bad, man. Happy to be home.
Where were you?
Just out on the road a bunch. Yeah.
Where were you playing?
Just got back from Acme in Minneapolis, so.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
nice.
that was great. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. What about you? Been out, or what have you been doing?
No, I was. I finished the tour, and I didn't mean to. I just noticed when I raised my. It was an odd timing. I finished the tour.
Like,
I was
you're just
saluting somebody out
after all these years.
Yes.
When you say goodnight, you bow, like even at dinner. Like you just
like curtsy.
Yeah.
I finished my tour, and then
thank you all so much for coming.
And then took 2 months off, and then
Good relief.
yeah, it was great, and just hung out with the family, and then started the shooting the shit thing.
Oh, that UH, yeah.
Started that at in mid-January, I guess, and I'm actually doing the Sultan Room on Monday. I'm shifting into phase 2. Officially going into phase 2.
Phase 2 is
phase 2 is one less guest, so it's usually the Union Hall, small basement, just really
or whatever it is, yeah,
just really raw. I don't have anything. I go up with my notes,
yeah.
And then once I get into phase 2, which is like Littlefield, Sultan Room, there's one less special guest, so it's me for roughly 30, and then guest, or 25, let's say, guest, and then me for like 30, and just trying to start to string stuff together, all these disparate ideas.
You're like actually getting form to the hour.
The very beginning of it, yeah. The very, very beginning of it. There's still stuff I know I'm not going to do, and I've tried it. They're just jokes that only I like.
Yeah, that's like the thing you want. Like I have a one for you, one for me kind of mentality with
sure.
it. Yeah,
but I'm I just know they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah. You really, it takes a lot of time to make a joke only you like.
Yeah. I mean, I have one that gets a lot of groans.
What is it?
It's brand new, but what did the woman who just had an abortion and then regretted it, but immediately went to an amusement park and went on the roller coaster say?
There's a lot of setup. I don't know. What?
I feel like a kid again. So
I think that's good.
It's a groaner.
Those are my favorite kinds of jokes, though, are like the ones that are like.
You know what else, though? I'm just judging off
a turn of phrase joke, like using using a phrase that everyone knows. Like,
well, here's one that is not good that I was working on last time I did this. That's not good. What did the strident, psychopathic, woke feminist say? Oh wait, this is old. I mean, I ditched it for a reason. Say when she heard about the devastation from the hurricane or something. I can't remember the setup. Something like that. Oh, it's so bad.
These last two setups are like a forward to a book.
I'm not even going to finish.
My favorite, I like the first one a lot. My favorite joke that I can never, I didn't write, this guy wrote in Portland was just my stepdad was a terrible drunk. He used to come home and just beat the shit out of us. He's like, one night there was blood everywhere. My mother was screaming. He's like, I guess you had to be there, which was
oh boy.
Well, I mean, that's feel like a kid again, kind of. Yeah.
I guess you had to beat there?
Be there.
I guess you had to be there.
Yeah. I loved it. But
yeah. I thought you said, I guess you had to beat there, and that's like too That's not good.
Yeah, you can't go through all that and pun it.
Yeah.
You know, I think. Yeah.
No, I love those. Those. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but you know who does a spot on, fantastic impression of you?
I bet you're going to say Sean Patton.
I am going to say
Yeah,
Sean Patton.
I know. I only guess that because you two were touring together so much last year.
Yeah, but
he thinks he. You think he does too?
Yeah, it's more about you on stage than just hanging out. Well, it's kind of everything. He doesn't really. I mean,
I mean, he does. Yes, Sean and I will do impressions of one another. we were in Atlanta, actually at a bar. I think you introduced him to.
Which one?
It's in Little Five. I think it was called.
The Yacht Club.
Yeah. We were in there, and we just like there were like all these younger comics hanging out, and then we just started making fun of one another, and we had like an impression off of one another, and it's like,
and the comics knew who you were.
Yeah, it was me and him. Like, yeah, because they came to. I was down there doing shows, and Sean's down there shooting something or whatever, and. I guess it felt very weird to be like the older comic finally.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Yeah, dude, it sucked kind of. And then like
you're the grand statesman.
Yeah,
you're the elder.
I'm like the only Shane Torres. He was on Conan, which was a talk show.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and I were just doing impressions of one another. It's like, what if all these buttons in this elevator were shot lasers instead of took you to floor? That's my Sean Patton. It's just like. What is
that sounds like you.
That's not like him. Like what's this?
That sounds like Sean doing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're the same person at this point, but like his function is like I think like his like one of his core like things he does in comedy is like he looks at something and says like, well, what if it did this instead? Like, what if it's complete opposite function? And I was in Asheville like 3 weeks ago. Doing shows and
love Asheville.
It's a great town.
Yeah,
great
I love
town.
it.
And these kids came up from Atlanta to open for me. These like younger Atlanta comics, and they're like, Sean Patton's in Atlanta shooting this thing, and anytime he shows up to a show, all the young comics get sad because they just have to get drunk with they all get drunk with him. And, like he's like, our livers just hurt. He's like a hurricane. He's like, yeah. Did you guys do a lot of cutting loose on the tour?
Yeah. No, I mean, there were plenty of times where, if it's night 4 or 5, I'm like, I can't, I gotta go back to the hotel because, also you might have to have an early flight and it takes a while to get to the airport and you've got to connect somewhere else, whatever. Yeah. So it just, and you've done 3 or 4 shows, I do an hour and a half and then these
you do 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It not for any just because it's self-indulgent.
I mean, I'm more like that's a lot.
I try not to. But it ends up being about anywhere from an hour 20 to an hour and 30.
That's a lot of time.
It is, but also there's fucking around. I dick around in the first 5 minutes are just pure dicking around.
You're just engaging and
saying hi,
which is more fun. Like I always think it's weird when somebody
just jumps in.
Just jumps
right. I don't like that either. It's weird.
Like it's also like if you and I we just kind of started talking, and I'm assuming we're recording now. But
but we can start. We're
and
recording.
Then your voice just goes. Shane, you get a little deeper and a little more but whenever
talking to Shane Torres, Texas's own,
they do their own podcast voice and they move you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like now all the tone's different, but I think 90 minutes is a long time. I just
well, I mean, yes and no. It's if I feel like the audience is getting tired, then I'll wrap it up. But once you get into
being a huge star like you are,
yes,
you they don't want you to.
No, I lock the doors and then I pump in the gas.
And you pump in the gas. Yeah.
I have the set keeps growing because I'm always riffing on stage and stuff, and I'm adding.
That's how you write on stage.
Yeah. And that's what this whole shooting the shit process is, and then, you have it kind of locked in and stuff always, every single show, you do 85 shows and guaranteed every show something will happen that is, addressable. Phony. God bless it. This phone is so sarcastic. It's my phone. It's very sarcastic. I'm serious here. I'm very serious. So something, whether it's like a drunk person in the audience or a weird reaction or anything that, it gets addressed. And sometimes you play around with that for like 2-3 minutes. Audiences love it. It makes the experience unique, And when I was doing
the fireworks are nice. I guess kind of what I call it.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, somebody's phone going off or whatever the thing is that so there's always fucking around with that and bringing that back. And then there's, again, the opening is saying hi. And I try, at this point, there aren't too many places I'm going to that I've never been before. And, but I have something to say about that town and, or an experience I had there but I always take an hour to walk around, and
then just take the city in or whatever. Yeah.
And you'll, half the time you'll find something to talk about.
If your headphones aren't in, there's a lot to be taken.
I don't wear my headphones. Yeah. I walk around. I walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. There's some person I saw being weird or a weird sign or something that's clearly local. Exactly.
Do you ever do encores? Have you ever done an encore?
I used to, and I don't anymore because I do an hour and a half.
Yeah, okay,
it's time for Daddy to go have some beer.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I always I think it's so funny to do. I don't know how you do an encore as a comedian. Did you give them like an old bit they would know? Because you got some.
No, I
fairly
never
rabid fans or anything. You never. No, I
never did like a best of.
You never did like a redneck fight for anyone or.
Well, that's going way back.
Yeah. Well, that was the album I got introduced to on outside of.
Oh, is that on an album? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on. Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Well, no, I did some specials and HBO things.
Yeah. That's on one. I remember.
Okay. Yeah. That was one of my first that goes back to when I was just starting. That's one of the very few things that I had from. You're talking about when a redneck gets drunk and they start arguing, and then they lose their trail of thought.
The thing I loved about that bit was when you just hear because we're both from the South, so I was when you hear that scoot of a chair was the detail of it that always got me because you're just oh, redneck fight. You're
man, you don't want to fuck with me, man. Yeah. Y'all don't know me, man, because I'm you get me riled up. Yeah. You watch out. You best watch out because I'm like a goddamn. I'm like a goddamn. Oh goddamn it! What's the name?
Hurricane nestled in a box of tsunamis.
Well, you've clearly.
I knew the bit. I left it.
I don't remember that, but
I remember the whole bit because I left it playing, and then I left my house, and it was just playing, and my window was open, and my neighbor came over and said to my room, "He's like, hey, could you turn this fucking shit off?"
That's
he
awesome.
Just heard you doing
when I was, probably. In my mid 20s,
That's
John.
Just a few years ago, though.
Just a few years ago, yeah. John Ennis from Mr. Show. He's an actor.
Yeah, I think so.
So John, I was crashing at John's place. I didn't have a place to stay. This is in Boston, and he lived on the third floor walk up, and I don't know what the technology was back then. It was probably CDs at that point. I mean, it was definitely CDs, but I don't know what we were playing. But we had, we were playing the first side of the Sex Pistols album and cranked it. And then I don't remember why, but we left, I think, and we left for a while. We left for the weekend to go, I don't know, see the Grateful Dead or something, thinking that it would turn off automatically, and it never did. And he got in so much trouble, and I mean, just cranking super loud.
You guys were all you guys just fucking jammed up, jazzed up, and you're let's get out of here. We're going to see the Dead, and then you
Well, I think it was planned, whatever it was, and And we were just going, I don't even know where we might have been going to the Cape. I have no fucking clue. But we went somewhere where we were gone for a couple days.
And it just played for
and
a
it just
week?
played, yeah.
And the neighbors just like...
I just heard from John that
and
it
they were just like, they were fucking...
Yeah. I mean,
I guess, why wouldn't you assume it would go off? Wouldn't go off, though. It's an honest mistake.
It must have been, but it must have been on the loop thing. And I think somebody
has a visceral reaction to that song now, years later, if they just hear it.
Like, well, they're angry about the lyrics.
Yeah.
The music's fine.
Yeah. Well, but they're just like, that fucking guy. Like,
they had to, I think they had to get somebody to go in there and turn it off.
It was a super or something, though?
Yeah, somebody, but it wasn't like a super, it was like, like a house that was turned into a bunch of units. You know, like an old Boston thing. Yeah. So it's like somebody on each floor or whatever. They had to get, like somebody to go in there fucking.
I just think it's funny somebody like could be having a perfectly fine day and then be driving and hear the radio play that song and just be like reminded of something that fucking pissed them off so much.
Somebody works nights and, comes home and needs to sleep during the day and then,
yeah, and then
early punk, loud too. It was loud.
Were you a big punk? Like,
oh, I loved it. Yeah,
yeah.
I was.
What was like the jump for you from like whatever was on the radio to punk? Like,
I'll tell you, I was mostly because of my friends, but I was into prog rock. Like I was into ELP and UK and
like King Crimson and these kind of
they kind of like and Jean-Michel Jarre, who was like this kind of atmospheric
like time signature, like crazy time signature, like Tool predecessor kind of stuff.
I was into that, and probably that's like around 9th, 10th grade. I was always into the Who, always way, way, way deep in the Who. But I started getting into progressive rock, and then in 10th grade, I worked at and it's still there. I actually stayed across the street a couple of years ago. I was shooting something in Atlanta. At the Tower Place 6 theaters. So I worked at this movie theater, and this guy named Bob Harris, who worked there, was a couple years older than me. I was listening to his music. I'm like, this is great. What is this? And it's people I'd heard about and I kind of liked, but now I had it all in one tape. He made me. So it was Dead Kennedys, Gang of Four, Mink DeVille, X, Soft Cell, Elvis Costello, all early stuff. Yeah. And so this would have been like 79, I think, 80. And I fucking wore that thing out. And then when I started making money. Did you just kind of
when you heard that, were you like, not abandoning prog rock, but like kind of like.
I just was less interested in it. I was really like, this speaks to me. The
energy is there.
Yeah. And I started, so now instead of buying, a John Wetland thing, I was buying, Dead Kennedys. And I wasn't that into, I don't know why, I wasn't that into the Ramones, and I wasn't into West Coast punk as much.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I mean, Dead Kennedys are San Francisco, but I never really got into Black Flag or Circle Jerks. I liked them.
I mean, I like them too, but I'm like, I can't pretend I'm like the biggest fan. And they were all a little bit before me.
Yeah.
Like predecessor, but like, I remember like being embarrassed that I liked other stuff before I found punk rock. Like if people saw my CDs, I'd be like, fuck, I have the Scream soundtrack.
Oh, dude, I had. I mean, this is when I was a kid, but I had the theme from SWAT that I bought as a 45. I had what's the song from fucking Grease? You're the one that I want.
Yeah,
I had that on a 45. Like I had.
I don't know why you stop enjoying the thing like as
you just evolve, you get older, and You're the One That I Want doesn't speak to a 14-year-old like it does to a 10-year-old where you're not really thinking about it.
Yeah, that's very true. I get, but I think.
But I had a pretty eclectic. I had, Kiss double live next to I was never like Kiss Army guy, but I
That
definitely
shit is insane to me. Like
Yeah.
how obsessive people are over it.
I mean, I saved everything for the Insane Clown Posse.
I did his podcast.
Did you?
Yeah. I did Shaggy's podcast.
And
well, we taped at a house that I guess he has like rents out for producing.
they're
stuff.
supposed to be super nice guys.
He was really
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, I heard very good
Yeah,
things.
I've
about
never
him.
met the other one,
Mhm.
but he was very. He
Teeny?
is
Are they call him
100%
Teeny?
the guy.
It's like Shaggy and Teeny, right?
Shaggy and
I know it's not Teeny, but
it's a Violent J.
Violent J. Yeah.
Yeah. He was really nice, and actually, like, it's so funny because he's like, the music I can't. It's just not. I've never been into it, but
no.
He's a really insightful person because I was trying to like. I did his podcast, but I ended up asking him a lot of questions because he kind of was just like. He's 100% the person you think he is, except he's very nice. Like he's always just.
Yeah, I've heard they're
he
very
was just talking about
nice
like having
guys.
sex with random chicks, but he wasn't. It was just so like untethered.
Mhm.
Like there was no filtering him at all. So I was just like a little. I felt like dirty being around the language he was using, but he was very sweet. It was me and.
Where does he live? Is he in Michigan?
Yeah, he's in Detroit. Yeah,
Yeah.
outside of it, like Detroit, as he said. But like, it was an interesting conversation because I was just like, they just did everything out of the trunk of a car and then they busted wide open, and then they've been like, they've been designated like a criminal gang, like the juggalos and all this kind of stuff by the FBI. Like it's all like crazy bullshit.
Yeah,
it's interesting what takes off to me. Like,
did you ever see the old SNL? Hasn't had very many good, clever things in, I don't know, 20 years or so. But their thing where they were doing the
it'd be great if it was the date you left the show that you were like,
I've never been on SNL.
I thought you were on SNL. Didn't you write on it?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm serious.
I'm sure.
I there's a kind of a longer backstory to. I ended up with a kind of an open invitation from Jim Downey, the head writer, to write when I wanted to come on as a staff.
Did you audition for it?
No, I went and met with Lauren for a long time, and what I did not audition for
I have been
SNL.
telling people for years a crazy story I heard about you auditioning for SNL.
Well, all right. Let me change that, Shane. Let me change that to. I'll amend it. So I had a sketch group in Boston, and we came up to New York to showcase for SNL, but it wasn't. So we did that, and it wasn't with Lauren. It was with Jim Downey, Al Franken, and I think Sandler and Farley might have been there. I don't know. There were a handful of people.
Okay.
Not many, but who went and saw our show, which was a showcase for SNL to see to move into whether we were going to audition. So I wouldn't call it an audition.
You were kind of scouted, essentially. Yeah. I heard, and by the way, I've been telling people this story for years about you, that you auditioned, and your whole audition, you just counted down from 1,000.
What? No.
Yeah, I swear to God, I heard this story that you auditioned for SNL, and you just counted down from 1,000.
No. I mean,
I've told that to
there's
maybe
not even
hundreds of people.
There's nothing that even remotely resembles that I've ever done.
I think now we can grow the legend of David Cross even more.
All right.
Like, I think I might still tell people
1,999,
Yes.
998.
Yes, that's what I thought
Wow.
you did. I was like, well, he's a creative, ballsy comic. Like, maybe he did do that to make an impression.
Well, where did you hear that? Where'd you get that from?
I don't know, but I've told a lot of folks.
God damn,
I was like, he's a friend of mine.
You're fake news, buddy.
Yeah, I can't.
Wow.
Well, anyway.
No.
Anyways, SNL 20 years ago, they haven't had a good.
Oh, but they're well, actually, the cold open last the was it Katie Britt thing that Scarlett Johansson did was fucking great.
It was really good.
And she was amazing. She was just spot on.
I watched that. Did you watch the actual video she put? The actual post Katie?
Not live, but I saw it later.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Oh yeah, it's every bad idea rolled into one.
Yeah, and the sincerity, like she's trying to pull off.
Oh, the faux sincerity. Yeah,
it's like
politician.
I worry.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
God.
But Scarlett Johansson nailed it, just perfect. But so I was going to say there when SNL would do their what do they call it? What is the gathering, right?
Yeah,
the gathering
yeah.
of the Juggalos, and they do the list of
artists or whatever.
Artists, and it would just keep going and going, and they were just so funny, and it reminded me of those kind of list jokes, those things that you would be crying, laughing with tears, laughing so hard your stomach hurt in the writer's room at 1 a.m, coming up with dumb band names, you know, and it looked like you could see I could just know the joy
of how much fun they were having doing that.
Yeah.
Do you? Where do you go? Like take in comedy now? Like who? Do you have like a like? Do you watch SNL all the time still, or do you?
No. I'll click on a thing if there's like
that's kind of how I take it too.
Oh, this sketch is, you know, and if I get through the whole thing, great. If not, you know, but I don't. You know, it's one of those things. I mean, they've got great writers and supreme talent, you know, but I mean, 5 days to do a show where you got to cater to some, you know,
like you got a
weird personality.
Is a kind of is Bruce Willis is here. We need to make a Die Hard sketch that hasn't been done before.
Whatever. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking for the perfect gift to celebrate the moms in your life? Aura frames are beautiful Wi-Fi connected digital picture frames that allow you to share and display unlimited photos. It's super easy to unload and share photos via the Aura app. And if you're giving an Aura as a gift, you can even personalize the frame with preloaded photos and memories. For Mother's Day this year, I really want to give my wife, something they can enjoy every day. It's easy to set up. It takes about 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. It has, although some of your moms might not be too app proficient, so you might have to help them. Your wife, I'm sure, has it down, but you know how the older generation is. It has free unlimited storage and unlimited photos and videos, and invite as many people as you want to a frame. There are absolutely no hidden fees or subscriptions. And it's private. You have complete control over who has access to your frame, and the Aura app lets you share photos more securely than with email, which many other digital frames require. The photos look like real prints. Aura frames have meticulously calibrated high-resolution displays. Unless you look really closely or see photo transition, you'd never know it's a screen. For grandmothers to new mothers, aunts, and even the friends in your life. And sometimes a grandmother can also be a new mother. With science today, every mom loves an Aura frame, named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and selected as one of Oprah's favorite things. Oh, Aura frames are guaranteed to bring joy to moms of all ages. You hear that? Guaranteed. So if they don't do it, get your money back. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's auraframes.com. Use code SENSES to check out to save. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Hey, let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Well, now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. It doesn't have to be a bed. Listen up. BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. I get it. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free for a month and see. You're gonna love it, they say. You could be missing out on the best sex of your life. With Blue Chew, men everywhere are excited to see the postman. You know, remember the movie? Because when your package has arrived, your package has arrived. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex, even if it's just jerking off. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it! And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code SENSES at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code SENSES to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details on important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
I was talking to someone about this and how it's important, like where you go to get your comedy is kind of like the comedy you absorb or like the art you take in is almost as valuable as the work you make, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's a Beatles lyric.
Is it really?
No. No.
Oh, were you going to the... Okay. But I was for 3 years maybe I've just been coming home and like not enjoying anything, just been working, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just throw on like a dumb thing and I don't want to be invested in it. And
are you talking about stand up or just
comedy in general, like whatever inspires, gets you moving like creatively. Gotcha. Yeah. Stand up wise, like it's weird to say this, but I kind of go to the same people I've gone to for years because I kind of trust them. But I was like, I rewatched Andy Daly's review.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it, but I heard great things.
It's so I felt like rejuvenated. It's so goddamn good again, and the turns in it. You know, when you watch comedy, you're like, this is what they're gonna do next. Like you can kind of like you look at it from a craftsman's eye or whatever. The turns he puts in it are so fucking funny, and you don't see them coming. It's so tricky and good.
Yeah, I need to check it out.
He's something special.
Yeah, I remember reading about it, and I like Andy, you know, and I got to check it out. There's just so much stuff on there now.
I don't know what we're supposed to.
What would I just? I'll tell you what I've watched and I've really liked. Not necessarily a comedy, but Reservation Dogs is great.
Yeah, it's kind of dramedy stuff. Yeah,
and the acting is just fucking phenomenal, and also the comics that did guest spots on there.
I've only seen the first season.
So Bill Burr is fucking great. Is like this teacher. Like real, and did a really good job.
He's not being
he's
Bill
acting.
Burr.
No. He's great. Mark Maron in season 3 is like a guy who runs a halfway house. Ethan Hawke, who's not a comic, but he's amazing. Like their guest stars are like some of the best.
Really well done.
Really well done.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was I going to say? Something. The How To with John Lewis.
I haven't watched that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's HBO?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to get,
It's so good. The premise is a guy documenting things around New York, his New York, and narrating it. And it starts off as one thing, like, how to, I can't remember them, but, how to buy a mattress. And it starts off as this one thing, and then, like so many great documentaries, although these are just short 30-minute segments, you switch very quickly.
Like what the pivot is.
And you're not even aware of it sometimes, and then it becomes this whole other thing. Always interesting, always well done, very funny, very poignant at times, I highly recommend it.
Okay,
it's great.
Yeah, I gotta take in better stuff right now.
Yeah, it's hard, and then also, you're on the road and you come home and you're fucking exhausted. I don't
want to I don't want to watch Poor Things at 1 a.m. when I'm you know what I mean? Like I don't. Yeah. I know it's good. Like I know it's supposed to be good, but
is it?
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like I know it's.
Some people I know who I respect really didn't care for it.
Really?
It made them a little angry.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe I don't. But I don't know it's good. But
they've all been like, will you watch it so we can talk about it? Yeah.
Did
you see The Curse?
What?
You see The Curse?
No, I haven't seen The
dude.
I haven't seen so much stuff.
See The Curse.
What's The Curse about?
Nathan Fielder, Emma Stone, and Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
everything about it.
really enjoyed it?
Everything.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed it.
He's pretty about as close as you can get to batting 1,000. Fielder does it.
Yeah.
Like he gets.
The acting is great in this too. Like all of them, but Nathan too. Yeah.
I guess I'll have to watch it. But it's one of those things. I think I miss everything because for someone whose job and career is to kind of comment on what's happening in the world. Like I'm up to date on nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a glut of things out there, so it's almost okay because you could mention something that literally has been viewed 100 million times, and perhaps 75% of your audience will like, nah, I haven't seen it. You know,
That's fucking.
I mean, what's the point?
I mean, I don't know what the point is, but I fucking. I just want,
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to tell you a special that I just watched that I really liked. Rory Scovel's.
Yeah, my buddy Steve was talking about it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good.
Yeah. I want to watch. I saw. Roy's. Incredible.
Great. And that the opening of the specially shot in Atlanta is one of the best.
Oh, the one he did at the what was that theater? The Relapse, I think, is the theater they shot it.
I don't know.
Where he's like comes in like rock star.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's so funny. Like, do you know Gilbert Lowen and Mike Albanese? Those guys, they're Atlanta comics. They live up here.
No, I don't think so.
But they put on that festival Red Clay they're like in it as his security guards, and Gilbert's like 4'8", you know, like and like he to me is like it was just like it kind of took me out of the opening because they're just sitting there with their sunglasses on, their arms crossed, and like Mike is like 6'9", he's gigantic, and Gilbert's like this little. So the contrast is very funny. But Gilbert in a green room is maybe the funniest person who's ever lived in the like. We just call him the green room killer. Like he came to Caroline's one night. It was me and Kanane. And he just came in and was like having a good time. He was like, "What are we drinking, boys? Applebee's or Olive Garden?" Like, just awesome. He can't stop. Like he'll pick you up from the airport and you'll be hanging out, like going to do shows. And he goes, "Hey Shane, you know that joke you do about Guy Fieri?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I've been doing it down here. It works great. So don't." Like,
remember in 2018 when Border Patrol separated thousands of refugee kids from their parents, deported the parents back to their home countries, while keeping the kids in the United States? Well, believe it or not, 6 years later, there are hundreds of families who still have not yet been reunited. Although we as a community may feel hopeless at times, I recently learned about an organization called Al Otro Lado, which works to reunify families. They provide holistic, legal, and humanitarian support to refugees, deportees, and other migrants in the U.S. and Tijuana through a multidisciplinary, client-centered, harm reduction-based practice. Since 2018, they've reunified over 100 refugee families ripped apart by Trump's zero-tolerance policy. Once reunited, Al Otro Lado helps each family to find legal representation, housing, and the counseling that they need in order to heal and get on their feet. We can't let family separations go on. If you're like me and believe that all families belong together, then join me in supporting Al Otro Lado and donate today. You can find the link to donate to Al Otro Lado in the description of this episode, or go to gum.fm/charity and donate today. And you can also consider volunteering with the organization, which offers opportunities that are both in-person and virtual. The best way to get involved is by filling out an application on their website at alotrolado.org/volunteer. I want to tell everybody about one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of people do a lot of ballsy things.
It would just be so funny for like when Evel Knievel jumped over. Like
it was when Evel Knievel was went on this anti-Semitic tirade. No, it was you know what I'm going to bring up.
I do, yeah.
And
I have an addition to it now.
It was. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's also. You can speak to it from your perspective, and I can speak to it from my perspective. But so Shane and I were doing. It was one of those, David Cross and Pals type of shows at the. It was a short-lived festival. They don't do it anymore, right?
Comedy Central's Cluster Fest.
Comedy Central's. They don't do that, right? Or do they?
No.
Yeah, it was they only did like 2 years.
Yeah,
I think.
2 or 3, and it was like. It was a nice idea. Like it was
a nice idea, but not well run. It was there were some serious issues that needed to be ironed out.
I was so far down the totem pole. Then I was just happy to be there and have a hotel and free beer. You know, like
I mean, it's fun. It's definitely fun, but
it was like bands. It was like kind of like an inverted Bonnaroo or Outside Lands in the sense that comedy was headlining and music was
right.
Yeah,
but they just the actual physicality of it wasn't kind of well done.
And I think 2 years with a festival is like barely enough time to get anything right with it. There's so many moving parts on those things.
But anyway, so it's big festival, and we were in some like auditorium arena thing, and it was probably, I don't know, a third full, but it was probably 4,500, 5,000
people.
All right, so 5,000.
It was
a big arena.
That's Civic Center. Yeah, the Bill Graham or whatever it's called. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of people focused on you who are. It's just, and it's a big space to play. So, did you come up with this idea?
I did.
Yeah.
And I've used it once or twice since too.
It's so ballsy. So this, and also we have to say that this was 2019?
This was maybe a little bit before. This was
18, 17.
Whatever year he got in trouble.
Yes, whatever year he got in trouble. So
it was like a month after that.
Yeah. Sam J, who fucking knocked it out of the park with the intro.
She sold the shit out of it.
She sold the shit out of it. So
do you remember when I asked you? I go, "Hey, can I do this?" And then you were like, "Yes, you have to." Like, because I was like, it might ruin you might take the tone of the show out of the like. I was like, I thought it was funny from the start, and I was only asking permission because I didn't want to have somebody come. I didn't want to come off stage and have somebody be like, "What the fuck were you thinking?"
No, I totally.
I thought you would be into it. That's all.
I would have had your back if anybody said that anyway. But so this was Shane's idea again. 5,000 people, and this is so Sam J goes up there and is very kind of and just sold it perfectly. Where she's clearly uncomfortable but still professional, trying to do her job. And introducing a special guest who's a legend.
Had some issues as of late.
Had some issues as of anyway. Please welcome Louis C.K. And this was like when he had everything. The shit had come out. New York Times article. Everything awful.
Lots of people were like heartbroken over it because he was such.
And then the crowd reacted, as you might imagine. They didn't know
what to do. Like it was.
They didn't know what to do.
Because someone were like, "How?"
Yeah. Yay, but no, not yay.
It's like a present they didn't know they weren't gonna like.
And then Shane comes out,
and they were like They gave there was a sense of relief on them after I came out, and they were like, "Oh."
But the confusion also, it really fucked with people because, as you pointed out, there was that kind of, "Oh, yes or no, I don't know," and then when it was you, they were like, "Oh, okay, no, I didn't want him here anyway."
I did that. I used that trick again. I was out with Bert, and he's playing like mega arenas now. Yeah, and like he was on his Fully Loaded tour this past summer.
Well, that Bert's audience isn't gonna bum out about.
Well, I didn't say Louis.
Oh,
because like I was following like like it would be like Big J and Dave Attell and like all these other people. Like we were all in these lines. Like so, I was like, I got in my head. I don't think I'm like standing out, and I was like. I told Cypher to bring me up as Tom Segura because they're so synonymous,
Right,
and
of course.
He sold it like way different than Sam. Like he sold it like, give me your fucking energy. And we taped it. And like there's a point where I was behind the screen, the video screen. I was like, this truly might have been the worst mistake of my life. It was so goddamn loud. I was scared. And then I had to I came out and I had to double down because Chad Daniels taped it. And you could just hear this woman on my phone be like, well, fuck you too. And it was in St. Louis. And I told them they were all dumber than the Arch for thinking Segura would be there. And they oh man, I barely got out of it.
How much time did you do?
like 20 minutes, like 15, 20. Yeah. But it's like,
so now
I think they're going to remember me more now than any great joke I would have had. Like.
I don't know the physical situation, but can you see people? Can you see people arms crossed, pissed off?
Well, they like. I guess I remember it now visually from the video Chad took, but like. Cypher gets them all to stand up and they start screaming because he's like, it's the other bear. It's the, your mom's. And they are like, they couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
And then it's just so sad. Yeah. And Chad says they harumphed back into their seats. And like all these like fat Midwestern guys just sat on their nuts.
Poppycock.
Well, on Cracker Jacks or whatever. And I don't. I mean, I thought it was very funny, but I don't know if it had. It kind of made me think, like, I don't know if anything I do up here has any consequence if that's not going to upset them that much. Yeah. Like, so it's kind of nice to just keep.
Because at some point, perhaps you're just a guy they're waiting to, like they're like, oh, he's got 20 minutes. We'll just sit through this. And
we'll like it if we like it, and then like
get to the next person.
Yeah, but I wanted to like. Kind of jolt them alive a little bit.
Well, it sounds like you did.
Yeah, I think I did okay. But
anger is a useful energy too.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
anger.
Did you ever do stuff like that? What was like the craziest live thing you pulled that didn't work? Do you have a specific?
Oh, I mean, a lot. I'm trying to think of something that I did that, like, well. When I did the San Francisco, what is it called? They did it for like decades. The
Sketchfest?
No, it was a contest.
The San Francisco International Comedy Competition.
Was that what it was? That was run
by John Fox.
Yes. I still have the paper from it.
Do you really?
Yes.
I did Seattle, which was his other one. Yeah.
So me and this other comic from Boston, Chris Shino, got accepted into the competition, and I was young. I mean, I was shit. I mean,
were you old enough to drink?
20. Yeah, I was like 23, maybe. I don't know, and I went out there, and my act was very. I wasn't as comfortable as I am now. I just come out and but I also had that thing where bombing didn't bother me as much as it bothered other people. You know, I like so.
Did you come out pretty specific as a comic? Like when you start, like, did you have when you were starting to write and do stand up? Were you like? You had a point of view that was a little more.
It was not like me. It was
not general, but it was not general like a lot of people start off in stand-up comedy acting like stand-up they've seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I was overtly influenced by Andy Kaufman and Steve Martin. So I had a lot of weird, like, what's he doing?
A little left of center than like my wife and my kids kind of shit. Or
yeah. So I never had those kind of jokes. And it took me a little while to kind of find my voice and get comfortable. And but then I did, and I was working all the time in Boston just because of the comedy boom, and everything had a fucking comedy night, So you're
doing like the Ding Ho and all those kind of places.
Yeah, you just need to. They need bodies. I need to throw somebody on stage. So
they need chum for the wall.
Yeah. And so I was always working. You're getting ripped off royally by Bill Downs and Paul Barclay and the likes. But also, Greg Fitzsimmons has a great story about getting his due from Bill Downs.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Next time you see him, ask him.
I barely know Greg. Did you guys start at the same time, or is he a little ahead of you?
No, we were around the same time. I might have been a year ahead of him, actually. But yeah, we started around the same time. And anyway, right. So I go out there, and the way it's set up is, I think it's like 10. You have 2 weeks, and 1 week is 10 comics, and the next week are 10 different comics. Yeah,
For
and it's
people
like
who don't know, it's
round
an
robin.
exhaustive, like,
Yeah.
you do like a show a night and you maybe get
Yeah.
one night off a week. And if you pass on, then you do the same thing again. And it lasts a month.
Yeah, it's
so
ridiculous.
It's only profitable if you win, kind of. Like,
yep, and also, and they also way oversell the thing about this is going to be so great for your career.
The value
if
of
you
it
win
is like bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Like it's fucking like I did the Seattle International Comedy Competition. There might have been one show in Seattle, like, and everything else is all over the state of Washington. Literally.
Well, that's how it is in San Francisco. I mean, we so the show in question. So I was bombing, and when back then, and still today, but I don't really bomb anymore. But when I bomb, I'm like, if we're gonna go out, let's do this right.
Yeah, go out, kind of
go out big, go out swinging, and fuck all y'all.
Dig the fucking hole if you're gonna dig it. Yeah.
So
I wish I had more of that. I'm so fucking wanting to be liked. It's insane.
Yeah, I don't have that thing. The thing I have is I want to be professional, and I'll give the audience every chance. But if they're en masse, if they're going to be
shitty or drunk,
then all right, you've broken the contract, and now I get to do what I want to do. So I always go out there trying. I will try.
Yeah.
And
you don't just come out and say fuck it and like
no.
Yeah.
And there's this I got a reputation that I don't think is deserved, where people are like, like I'd go out to subvert the set, and that's just not true, I always try it. Always,
but
so I was not doing well, and I'll tell you who was doing very well was Henry. No, wait, what was his name? He was a Korean guy from Tennessee.
Good looking dude.
Henry Cho.
Yeah, I know who I know. I know his headshot.
Yeah, Henry Cho was killing, and he was clearly on his way to win. He did the same set. I did different stuff every time. He did the same set, and he used to have this bit that was reminiscent of the classic thing in the sitcom Taxi, where Reverend Jim is taking the driver's test.
Okay,
and he goes, "What does a yellow light mean?" And they go, "Slow down." What does a yellow slow down? He's trying to cheat, whatever. Anyway,
he's just doing a sitcom bit?
No, it's not. It's just reminiscent of it. He talks about his friend. His bit was, and I had a friend, whatever his name was, JB something, Stewart, right? JB Stewart. He's taking his test. He's filling it out. He's like, "Hey man, Henry, what do I do here?" And it says, to do my name, initials, and then last name. He's like, "Oh, you put J only, B only, Stewart." And then I swear to God, he writes Jonely, Bonely, Stewart. And that was his bit.
Just like,
I was like, that's
just cool. Like the roof is being torn down. It's
he killed. And
I had this similar experience with it.
Well, so the last show, and I was way out of. I actually had one good show, which made. So I had like 2 bad ones or 3 bad ones, and then one good one where I like placed. Like, oh shit, okay, maybe I have a chance. And then pretty quickly I had no chance. And then we did a winery, I want to say Paul Masson Winery, I don't know, out somewhere, fucking hour outside of San Francisco. Like we all had to go to an outdoor show with people who...
This is put on by people who are supposed to know comedy. Yeah.
And it's all like wealthy white people, every single person, outdoors, noon, not a good comedy room.
You set up for no success.
And I got drunk on purpose, on the shitty wine. And I went out, I went out and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was talking to, at some point I pulled my pants down, and with a whatever the context was, it wasn't, it was a very thin context, but it was about,
it wasn't like a well like laid premise or
no, but I think that was kind of the point was, and so I took my, I don't know. It was, and I just insulted everybody, and I insulted the wine, and I it was one of those things where like, haha, I got him. And then, everyone's fucking pissed off. Not everyone dealing with the people, the foxes
staff?
and not the staff, the foxes and some of the other comics. Some of the other comics loved it, but there were other comics that were like, that's bullshit. And, people have to follow that and whatever. But then I sobered up and felt really stupid, really stupid. And I don't regret the idea of what I was doing.
I don't think you should. It's probably the only thing anybody remembers from that show, if anybody remembers anything.
I remember J only, B only, Jonely, Bonely Stewart.
Gee, I walked right
Jonely, and then it would be tagged with "It's true." He would do that every single time. He'd say "It's true" and laugh in the middle.
Did Henry Cho win the San Francisco comedy?
I think he did.
Yeah.
If he didn't, then he was definitely in the finals.
Yeah. I regret kind of thinking that shit mattered that much.
Yeah, but you're a kid,
Yeah, but it's like also like, I knew I loved doing it, and I was very happy doing comedy, like from the start, the moment I did it, and then I'd be like, this. I kind of not too long, but look, for a little bit would listen to people would talk about Tribble runs and those kind of show, like those like fucking long, horrible one-nightery shits, and you're like, I would want to do those, and I'd be like, why? Why do I want to do that? Like, it sounds awful to go to a bar and just get drunk with a bunch of people in Montana and then do comedy and not have them like me. Like, I kind of, I always wish I had a little more like, fuck you, like I'll do it the way I want.
I think you're doing fine, Shane.
Yeah,
I think your instincts are yours and they're right for you. And,
it's turned into a little bit of therapy right now. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what
I wouldn't,
what are you laughing at? No, sorry.
You're also the kind of person who would go up in front of 5,000 strangers and have yourself introduced as Louis C.K. right after all that shit happened. And, that takes balls of steel.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it was really fun to watch.
Oh, man. It was a good memory. I can't believe that was like 7 years ago now.
Yeah. I was way off when I was like, what was that, 2020, 19, 18, 17?
It was 2022, like height of everybody coming out of COVID. Well, now what?
Are you done?
No. I just wonder what.
Okay.
I didn't know how to transition. I'm not done.
Well, you are transitioning by virtue of the fact that you've now broken the fourth wall, as it were, and saying, I don't know how to transition. It's not your job to transition either.
No,
it's my job.
It's our effort, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You're my partner in this. But and it's not really a job. I don't get paid for this. I'm doing these. This is one of those things that became apparent immediately. Like, oh, you don't get paid in a podcast, and like you're one of the top 0.001%.
We are so far in the red on mine. It's for years. Like, I enjoy doing it.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. It's just two fucking people talking, all right?
Yeah.
You're not
I don't know if there's anything. What it takes to have a podcast break through into anything now.
Well,
into any kind of to have a hit podcast. I don't know what.
Let's ask the ladies, Emma, Nicole. What does it take to have a hit podcast?
I don't know. What would you say, Nicole? I don't know. I feel like a lot of them tend to be more niche, especially right now. There's like the theme is everything. Like people are really
that's why fucking. Oh, that's not up. All right, that's why Sense is working overtime.
What's your thing? Yeah.
Well, so. For years, people had been, managers and, the team going like, you really should do a podcast. And I had no interest in it. I just didn't, not for any specific reason, like I'm not going to do that or anything. I just didn't want to take up my energy doing that. You know?
If you wanted to do it, you wanted to do it right. Yeah.
And And then, after several years, I was like, oh, I can see the value. And also I had been doing a bunch because promotion now is like less about what it used to be. And now you do a lot of podcasts. So it's very enjoyable. I enjoy it.
You prefer this to the old style of promoting?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like then...
Well, yes.
What would you do before, like just radio and like...
You do the Sirius radio tour. You do a day of talking to, the press, the same. Then you do a couple, you do a West Coast chat show and you do an East Coast chat show and that's it, And but over the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, like they've been less of that kind of thing, and then you do podcasts and they're enjoyable. I like it, and I was like, okay, I can do that. So I was like, okay, I'll do one. And they were like, great, write up a little thing, that we can present and go out there with. And I wrote up this like page and a half of, hi, I'm David Cross, and I'm a professional talker. I've been talking since I was roughly 2, and I'm good at it, and I enjoy it, and whatever. I wrote this thing up, and they're like, oh yeah, you need like a hook. What do you mean the hook? The hook is I'm talking to people. No, you need like an angle. You need like a... They kept saying hook.
It's got to be like the hook. Gum pot, like you chew gum and talk, or like...
Right.
That's some of the ones that like fucking kill me. They're like,
yeah. Well, yeah, there's the thing like cooking and talking. Yeah, and we're going to make a souffle while we talk. Who cares?
It's 2 dirty little tramps talking about their sex stuff. Like... Or what, like it's like there's a lot of people like doing the same, their own iteration of these. Right.
Well, as Nicole was saying, it's niche, and so I was like, I don't know what is it? I mean, murder mysteries seem to have been taken.
Yeah, it's like a real industry that like there's a...
What the fuck I don't know. I don't care. I just want to talk to people, and then almost like 2 months went by, and I just had a revelation. I was walking down the street. I was like, the 5 senses. I'll make it about the 5 senses and now use that as a jumping off point for conversations because I don't care about the other shit. Yeah. So I was like, what's the loudest thing you've ever heard? What's the worst thing you've ever smelled? Whatever. And I think I've asked questions 3 times, and this is what, the 20th?
Yeah.
And then I had it was so they I don't know if it was Headgum or somebody was like, you should record, like tape a little something that says, hey, so here's the deal. It's called Senses Working Overtime, but yeah, you know what? Yeah. Actually, we have good conversations and we don't get to it.
You're not like, yeah.
I never wanted to fucking do it in the first place.
Now, Conan and I have the same, like we have a podcast where we like, it's like my Guy Fieri joke in the sense that we just defend things people don't. Mm-hmm. Enjoy, or we take calls.
I see Guy Fieri in a completely different way now because of your bit.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, he should be. I don't know how to feel about that joke anymore. Like I think it did. I guess it made people.
Doing some damage now. Is it?
No, I think it's more like I'm happy I wrote something that resonated with people and people enjoyed. But now I'm like, and he was very nice. I got no issues with it. But I'm just like. I don't think I am this, but I have some self-doubt, obviously, that I'm just like, you're just like a fucking one-hit one. You're like Deep Blue Sun. You breakfast at Tiffany's yourself. All people know is Guy Fieri. And then I
That's not true.
I don't know.
Everything bagel. People know the Shane Torres.
That joke gets more grief than anything. But somebody at my shows at Acme, somebody made their own shirt this weekend about, There
you go.
Yeah. But I worry about, I wonder if, I also wonder if I'll write something that resonates that much again with people, like that kind of.
You will,
yeah.
Shane,
I hope so. Yeah, but it's like it's a little daunting to try and do things like twice, I guess. And I was excited about that joke. I'm trying to.
What do you mean? It's daunting to try to do things?
To be like. I remember when I wrote that joke, it came out not easy, but I kind of created it in a way that I was like. Once I started doing the work for it, it was like, oh, this all makes sense, and it was kind of just clicking right. Like the bit came out, and I haven't had someone unsheath the sword over there. It's like
a katuna.
I unsheathed an iPad. Sorry.
No, okay. A digital sword. Now I'm like, I'm not like writing other jokes thinking this isn't as good as the Guy Fieri joke or anything like that. But I just wonder, like, I want to get back to the rhythm of like writing. I felt very strong as a comic then. I felt all the energy flowing, and I'm trying to find ways to do that again. So that's why I was talking to you earlier about like what you take in, what you enjoy. Like if it's like helping grow your creativity, like get the engine running.
I think the thing that works best for me is simply, I mean, I have the luxury of living in New York City, but simply going out and walking around. I just go out and I walk around and I think, I know this sounds so corny and twee, but I put my stand-up glasses on and I see things through stand-up. And if I'm writing something, if I'm writing sketches, or Bob and I are writing something, I look at it through that. But I do have
try
to
and set your mind for that when you go out.
Yeah, I do switch. And I go, I need to observe things and have them filter through my stand-up brain.
Yeah.
And so it's that, and then and I will, like, before I really start putting the set together, sometimes I will watch Richard Pryor special from something that's very inspirational to me, where I can watch it and go, Jesus. I mean, it's just masterful.
Yeah, the guy's a hurricane, like,
but whoever, just watch somebody
that you love,
that I love doing, or old Bill Hicks stuff. I'm like, man, that's.
You a big Jonathan Winters guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a double album. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta I saw something of him he's one of my blind spots in like, I know him a little bit from just like talk show appearances and stuff, but I have to I saw him do something on a talk show, and it was just like he had a stick, and it was just like 5 minutes of him making.
Oh, he was like fucking genius,
blowing my fucking mind, like how good he was.
I mean,
and how far ahead of the curve he was than everybody else.
Well, he was Robin Williams' big inspiration. I mean, that was an influence. Robin Williams very influenced by Jonathan Winters, but yeah, I mean, and also like soft spoken, and
he seems
and just to command a theater with a voice that's I mean, he'd do characters and stuff, but
he wasn't coming out with a fistful of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That should be the name of your next special.
Fistful of energy.
A fistful of energy.
It just sounds disgusting.
Well.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to I always think that I worry about like the history and comedy because everything's moving so fast now.
Mm-hmm.
Like about how many people are absorbing anything, or if they're and I've talked about this before, but I don't think any comics who have started in the past 10 years might know who Greg Giraldo is, or absorb.
Interesting.
I don't pretend to know everything, but I just think it's interesting. I started off as a fan of comedy and not wanting to be a famous person. That has been the case since I started. There were plenty. Anything new. Yeah. No, there were plenty, and you knew him instantly. People who didn't give a shit about the craft or the art of stand-up comedy, and this, back in the day when, really you could be a sitcom star based on your act. And I mean, think of all the people. Was that ever on the table for you?
No. My act isn't like
they weren't going to make you
like that.
They weren't going to make you a postman, and
I mean,
in the Chicago suburbs or anything like that.
No, I mean, you think of all those people that came out. I mean, there's so many, and for every success, there were 5 shows that
some people never hit,
that ran for a season or less or whatever. But you think about Ray Romano and Brett Butler and
Tim
Allen and who's the magician guy? Night Court, Harry Anderson.
I was supposed to
Roseanne
open for him
Barr,
right before he died.
Fucker.
I would have. Yeah, I would have loved to open for Night Court. Was one of my a pretty underrated sitcom in my opinion.
No, I didn't care for it.
I loved John Larroquette and I loved Bull. But I was also 11, so I was like,
there you go.
Yeah.
That's
worked
who it's for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was always a thing where you could tell people were using stand-up to make a shortcut.
Yeah.
To fame.
Yeah.
And
which is so
Hollywood.
crazy because it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like to take it as a shortcut.
But here's the thing. You only need, or at least back in the day, if you had enough for a showcase, if you weren't interested in headlining the Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, then you'd get your fucking 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and you just fucking work that, and then you'd go try to get on the Tonight Show, and people weren't doing more than half an hour.
That's crazy. It's also so funny to think about because like the Tonight Show has this like reverence like in comedy, and then they're like, oh, they were still putting on people who only wanted to be on, like. I know legends have done it, but a ton of hacks have done it. Like in everything. Like, God, maybe I'm too precious, but
you should just quit.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Would you be a roofer?
No, I can't.
You can't roof.
I can't roof.
Yeah.
I can't roof. I can't plumb.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably just be like a dog walker again. Like I don't. That was the freedom for me in comedy. Was like every kind of job I could get, I knew I could get it again. So if I got fired, I was very like, who gives a shit?
There's other dogs to walk.
Yeah, there's other dogs to walk. There's other couches to be carried. I got fucking. That was the one thing I was good at, was kind of being good at being poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
same here.
Was a really valuable skill set.
Yeah. It informs me daily, and that whole bit that I did in the last special about having a rich kid and how I feel about that's a real thing. I mean, I love that kid,
but you have some true like resentment towards the privilege showing it. Like,
I don't know if resentment is the. I mean, maybe jealousy, maybe like
it's probably
weird,
some of that too. Yeah,
like the idea of you haven't really earned any of this, and you don't know what it's like to not have this, and then to appreciate the thing that you now have.
Yeah,
because you didn't have it, and you couldn't have it, but now you have it, and it makes you appreciate things more. And so far she's. It's early days yet, but so far she's a good kid.
Yeah. She's not like shoving cats downstairs or anything like that.
No. Can you shove a cat downstairs? I guess you can
if you try
from
hard
behind.
Enough, sure. Yeah.
All the time. She's not a cat shover, but so it's, as I said, it's early days, and so far so good. But I just worry about like the expectation of. And how she'll deal with, like, oh, you can't have this thing. There's no amount of crying or whining is going to make this thing appear in your hands or happen. And the idea of sacrifice and all that. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're,
I'm the opposite of those people who are like, I want my children to have everything I never had.
You think that leads to like,
oh, fuck that. No. I'm not going to do that.
I think what you should do is gradually start taking things away from her as she gets older.
Well,
like maybe not a room. Like maybe she has to sleep in the living room.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And
like today you have no shoes.
Outside.
Yeah. Today you don't get to wear shoes.
Yeah. And then just sprinkle dog shit and broken glass.
Yeah, around her home, which is
and now what are you going to do?
A piece
you want those shoes now, don't you?
Yeah, but maybe.
All right, Shane. Is there anything you'd like to promote while we're here?
Yeah, I would like to promote. I was trying to think of a joke, but everything I said I thought might. Never mind. You can watch my new special on YouTube. It's called The Blue-Eyed Mexican, and you can watch and listen to my podcast with Kyle Kinane. Called No Accounting for Taste, and then you can catch me on the road, ShaneIsAComedian.com. Yeah.
There you go.
What are you promoting?
I do. You can check out my podcast, Senses Working Overtime, where you get your podcasts from, and my latest special, Worst Daddy in the World. You can get it on YouTube's, And for any information on the upcoming shows, go to officialdavidcross.com. Okay.
Professional.
Now, Shane, I end every episode with a real question from my daughter.
Okay.
Who's now
You do
7.
have a hook.
I do. There's my hook. So this is a question for you, Shane, from my daughter, Marlo. Does stretching your legs help your bladder take a rest? Does stretching your legs help your bladder take a rest?
That's a pretty interesting question. How old is she?
She just turned 7.
I don't ever think I would be like...
We have a puppy, so she saw the puppy doing that, and then she's, kind of putting things together. So.
Not for me. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been like, I got to piss. I should probably take a walk. I shouldn't go to a bathroom. I should
just stretch.
Yeah. No. Actually, last night I was walking home from the cellar and I had to pee so bad, and I just moved into the East Village. And
nice. Where? Okay.
Yeah. And I just I found a corner to pee in, and then I just
Why don't you go to the bar? Why don't you go to Sophie's or Joe's or?
I'm not drinking right now. I'm off. So I'm kind of just staying away.
You don't have to drink to go in and use the restroom.
I kind of feel like,
you don't want the temptation, or
no. I kind of feel like I'm gonna be. I don't like. I always feel shame when I do that. I always feel bad. I don't know why. Not bad, but I'm a little embarrassed that I just go in and pee or take a shit or whatever and leave. I just I don't buy anything. Yeah. And
you should get over that.
Yeah, you don't think it's a
rather than so you peed in the corner outside, and that's preferable than peeing in a place where the pee goes to a safe area.
It's a safe for the pee. I don't think it's not really preference. Neither one of them are my preference would have been to not.
No, I'm telling you what my preference for everybody, including yourself, is don't pee on the street and pee in a toilet and then flush it. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Okay. I didn't think about it that way, David. I don't. There's piss here all the time. It's
well, let's have less of it.
I don't think that's a bad idea, but I don't know if I'm the man to lead this charge.
Well, then follow. But do it anyway.
Yeah.
Don't pee in the street, please.
It wasn't in the street. I found a
corner. What is
there was
a corner?
Vacant lot, and I went up next to the wall and peed, and then I just stepped in a bunch of mud, so I kind of learned my lesson anyways. Yeah, because I was slipping kind of when I was peeing.
When you say vacant lot, was it a community garden?
No,
Shane, was it a community garden?
If this community garden had a bunch of old Dodge Neons just parked in it that are no longer running.
Did you just make up this vacant lot?
No, it's there. It's it's like there's nothing in it.
Well, there's now pee. There's pee in it.
I was heading east, and I couldn't hold it anymore, and I was on 5th, I think maybe 4th, walking over, and then this vacant lot. Or
why don't you just go to the graveyard on 2nd?
There's a graveyard on 2nd?
Yeah. Between 1st and A, I think. Right? Yeah. Is that huge? They have. There's a guy, somebody who's buried there named. What is the name? It's the best name ever. It's It's not this, but it's spontaneous fish or something. There's a very famous. It's a great name.
Daniel Gumball.
It's
spontaneous fish.
I don't know, but it's on 2nd.
I'll have to go walk around and look at some head stuff.
Yeah. Or maybe 1st and 2nd. It might be. It's either. I think it's 2nd between 1st and 2nd. But there's a big old 18th century graveyard with sanctimonious fish or something is the name of. There's a weird name in there.
Pittsburgh has a huge graveyard in the middle of it, and I was there.
It's called Pittsburgh. Hello.
You don't like Pittsburgh? I think it's
Oh no, I love Pittsburgh.
It's a great town.
But I'll tell you what, I said this joke because I've done Pittsburgh. I would say 5 times over the years. I've done and.
The room to play now there is the Bottle Rocket. That place is great.
Whenever I'm booked in Pittsburgh. So I played Pittsburgh 5 times, and I've never played in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, if you played the Bottle Rocket, it's a bit small for you.
Everywhere is outside of Pittsburgh.
For sure. Yeah.
Every single fucking place.
Yeah.
And I love it to have great shows, memorable shows.
The people are wonderful, but yeah, you can get...
But I've played Pittsburgh 5 times,
and I've never played in
Pittsburgh.
You're like, yeah, you can kind of see it from where you're playing.
All right, well, phony... hang on.
But there's a guy... The reason I brought it up, there's a guy in Pittsburgh who... I was in this... They have this massive graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there seeing my ex, and we just went kind of walking around, driving around, and there's this guy whose headstone is just a shark coming out of the ground. It looks like the picture of Jaws. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like the movie.
Oh, that's great.
I was like, this guy went out with a sense of humor, like
a reason to get buried.
Yeah. It was a good time. Yeah, that's my graveyard memory. Spontaneous fish and Jaws headstone.
I gotta remember it. Something. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I should probably just go by now and
yeah. There's a little plaque, and it'll say it's
it has all their names, or
not everyone's, but some of the
more
local,
notable people.
Yeah, were
do you remember what he was?
I don't remember, but there's a little sign outside. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
It's a weird name. It's funny.
Yeah.
All right, Shane. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Hey guys, just announced a big show in Central Park on the Summer Stage, part of the Summer Stage series, called David Cross and Super Pals. That's going to be August 8th. It's going to be amazing. Got all kinds of really cool special guests. I know we got Bob Odenkirk, Sarah Silverman, Sean Patton, Fred Armisen, many, many, many more. Go to officialdavidcross.com. That'll have all the information for that. And the pre-sale, it just went out, and the pre-sale code is FUN. I believe it's all caps. FUN. David Cross and Super Pals, August 8th, Central Park. Come down.
That was a Headgum podcast.